Tonight on KGW News, remembering an Oregon political legend.
There was no problem he wouldn't take on.
The new tributes to Peter Courtney pouring in as his name is etched into history. Also ahead, night 2 of the Republican National Convention comes with a twist.
You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him.
As one of Trump's fiercest critics now rallies her supporters. Plus, what a pair of suspected burglars appeared to do after a local business owner tried to block them in.
So I just throw in reverse and start ramming the crap out of them.
And later, the vote to seal the deal on a big future for the Hillsboro Hops.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the best facilities built in the entire country, let alone Hillsboro.
Well, good evening, everyone. Where we're cooling off from another summer scorcher that approached the triple digits, though tonight the big concern appears to be the threat of thunderstorms and especially lightning that could potentially spark new wildfires. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko along with Chief Meteorologist Matt Safina. So Matt, what is the latest when it comes to potential trouble spots here?
Yeah, you know, we're getting a lot of lightning around Oregon, especially to our south here. But look at this. We actually had some measurable rain at Eugene and Corvallis, a few other spots, which is good. But the lightning continues just to the east of I-5 in the Eugene area. It's coming up the Cascades a bit. Haven't seen anything get as far north as Portland yet, but that doesn't mean it can't during the overnight hours. But this is where we're getting the most lightning right now. Even offshore, we're getting lightning above the marine layer. That happens a few times a year during the summertime. Always interesting when we see this pattern with these upper level storms coming up from the south. Now, because of the lightning and the hot weather, we are under a fire weather warning, and that includes the Portland area and the east side of the metro area here, and it actually includes a good chunk of the state. At least the northern and central parts of the state down to the south, that's been allowed to expire. But again, that's because of the lightning and the fact that it's been so hot and it's been so dry for so long, right? But let's look at the models and see what happens here. A couple of showers down around Salem. This is now 2:30 in the morning and a few speckles, but the models have been pretty consistent in not showing us getting much activity this far north. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen. Could be either side of I-5. We could see a shower or a thunderstorm, and really just about anybody, you might see it, but odds are there won't be much this far north, and then the clouds will clear during the day tomorrow. We're far more certain of that scenario. The other thing about tonight is how hot it is in Portland. We're still at 85 degrees here, but not the case farther south. Down at Aurora, 14 degrees cooler there. And if you like cooler air, look at this. It's 65 in McMinnville, a full 20 degrees cooler than Portland. Eugene is in the 50s. So big change there as those showers and thunderstorms as they move north are pulling that cooler coastal up from the south. So we're still under a weather impact alert until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The heat advisory expires at that time too. A warm night, a humid night. Try to stay cool. This will all be over as we go into tomorrow afternoon. David?
Yeah, steamy night in the Rose City. Thank you, Matt.
If there was a challenge or a crisis in Oregon, somebody had to do something about it, and that was Peter.
Tonight, Oregon's elected leaders, friends, family, and many more are mourning the death of the longest-serving lawmaker in state history. Peter Courtney died today at the age of 81, more than 4 decades after he was first elected to state office. Tonight, Kyle Aboshi takes a look back at Courtney's life and legacy.
Peter Courtney was the longest-serving state lawmaker in Oregon history, a tireless public servant known for his skills as a deal maker.
There is still more work we can do to benefit not just Portland, not just the Valley, but all of Oregon.
Courtney was first elected to the Salem City Council in 1974, then to the Oregon House in 1981. Known for his colorful personality, never afraid to speak from the heart.
And what is so horrendously bad about this? It is not going to keep people from having a home. It is not going to starve people. It is not going to make them go naked.
The Democrat moved to the state Senate in 1999 and became Senate president 4 years later. He kept that job for a record 20 years. Courtney championed many causes as a lawmaker, including mental health, animal rights, and child welfare.
Because I really do believe in this institution, in this great place, and I want it to be the greatest.
Courtney left politics in 2022, retiring from the state legislature.
Good luck in all ways. God be with you. Thank you.
Peter Courtney was a fixture in Salem politics for nearly a half-century. He was 81 years old. Courtney is survived by his wife Margie, 3 sons, and 7 grandchildren.
It's Kyle Leboshi reporting there. Among those reacting to Courtney's death, Senator Ron Wyden, who called Courtney a juggernaut for his constituents.
Well, what I remember is Peter Courtney calling me up at 7 or 8 a.m. in D.C. to talk about a pressing matter, and it was like 4 or 5 in Oregon. And Peter was already out of the gate coming up with important ideas, again, to make Oregon an even better place.
Meanwhile, current state Senate President Rob Wagner adding not only did Courtney make his colleagues better lawmakers, but in his words, better human beings. Meanwhile, in Salem, it was perhaps coincidental that Courtney was celebrated at the Oregon State Hospital, where the campus was named in his honor. Keep in mind, this has been planned months ago. Many who attended talked about how hard he worked to make sure those suffering from mental or psychiatric struggles were well cared for. Courtney, well known for his work around mental health services, including pushing for more funding for the state hospital.
I'm so sad about his passing today, but we're here celebrating something that mattered a lot to him, and it couldn't be a more perfect, I think, tribute to him.
Well, the governor also saying Courtney will be remembered for his, quote, genuine statesmanship and enormous heart. You can read much more about Peter Courtney's life, one that was firmly dedicated to decades of public service. That article is up now for you at KGW.com. Okay, let's talk about night 2 of the Republican National Convention, with former President Trump's primary rivals taking center stage, including one relatively last-minute addition. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Milwaukee.
Former President Trump again electrifying the crowd with his entrance on night 2 of the Republican National Convention, joining his new running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, and watching as former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley took the stage.
Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
A late edition speech.
President Trump asked me to speak to this convention in the name of unity.
From the former president's fiercest critic during the GOP primaries.
You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him.
Next up, another primary rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Let's send Joe Biden back to his basement, and let's send Donald Trump back to the White House.
Some of the loudest cheers came for one-time presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy, who embraced the night's Make America Safe Again focus on crime and immigration.
If you want to seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump.
Speakers repeatedly blaming President Biden's policies for illegal border crossings, with some of the most ramped up rhetoric since leaders on both sides called for unity in the wake of the assassination attempt against former President Trump. The former president looking on as one-time rivals pledge their support and rally around the new Republican ticket. Tomorrow night, Senator and now Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance will address the convention, all leading up to former President Trump formally accepting the party's nomination on Thursday. In Milwaukee, Alice Barr, NBC News.
To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a man killed in a stabbing Monday morning in Portland's Powellhurst Gilbert neighborhood has now been identified. Kenny Hausman was found severely injured near Southeast 136th and Clinton shortly after the 73-year-old died in the hospital. While police initially took someone into custody, that person was not charged and has since been released. We are learning more about the death of acclaimed Portland chef Naomi Pomeroy after she drowned in an accident on the Willamette in Corvallis over the weekend. The Benton County Sheriff's Office revealing that Pomeroy, her husband, and another person were using inner tubes and a paddleboard that were tied together to float the river. When the group hit some sort of debris, Pomeroy fell in and it appears became trapped underwater by or tangled up in a paddleboard leash. Authorities say she was not wearing a life jacket. The search continues for her body. And a second Washington man is now facing federal charges in connection with shooting attacks on Oregon electric substations. 33-year-old Zachary Rosenthal from Tacoma was arraigned today. He pleaded not guilty. According to court documents, Rosenthal is accused of damaging substations in Clackamas and Oregon City in November 2022, as well as stealing and illegally possessing 24 guns as a convicted felon. Investigators say they believe a Centralia man, Nathaniel Cheney, helped Rosenthal in one of the attacks. He was arrested in April, and his trial is set for next month. New at 11, the Hillsboro Hops are celebrating tonight after a big vote from city leaders gave them the final piece the team needed to start building a brand new stadium. Art Edwards is here. Art, this is pretty exciting and a long time coming.
Well, it is really big news for the Hillsboro Hops and that area. The Hops president tonight saying that fans are relieved to have this last hurdle cleared after a long push to get all the support that they needed for the new ballpark. Now, the Hops are forced to build a new stadium to meet Major League Baseball standards. Funding they needed from the state failed to pass last year, and some worried that they might have to leave Hillsboro. But approval came from the state legislature. It came earlier this year. Tonight, the Hillsboro City Council gave their seal of approval to a set of items that will allow the Hops to start construction. That includes a 40-year lease with the city and a plan for replacement fields for those in the complex that are going to be eliminated by the new stadium that's going in right next to the current ballpark.
People are pumped. It's there was a lot of uncertainty over the last couple of years, so to have it be official that we're here for 40 plus years in a brand new ballpark, everyone's just jacked up.
Hops President K.L. Wambacher added that the new stadium will not be just for baseball. They hope to make it a year-round entertainment site with concerts and festivals. Now, while some construction is going to start next week, the Hops have an official groundbreaking ceremony set for August. The new stadium is expected to open in 2026.
Not too far off. Glad to see it all coming together finally. Thank you, Art. Still to come on KGW News at 11. Beware of zombie fires, as some wildfires can hide underground for months only to resurface when conditions are just right. Plus, caught on video the tense moments when an arcade owner pushed back against two suspected burglars.